In December 2006, I decided it was time to replace my trusty 1994 Toyota Corolla wagon. Being an eco kind of guy, I was very interested in a Toyota Prius. After the typical new car dealer haggling, I purchased a race car red Prius. I've gotten as high as 58 miles per gallon with the Prius on a trip from Eugene to Beaverton. This car is hot. Right before my purchase, I thought about diesel vehicles and using biodiesel. I decided to educate myself and find out what's the deal with biodiesel.
Biodiesel is a vegetable oil-based diesel fuel that functions like diesel in any diesel application. That could be an engine in a car, a truck, a heating oil furnace, a generator, a tractor. And biodiesel effectively is vegetable oil with glycerol removed. So the biodiesel that we sell here at the station, about 50% of it is made in Salem at the Sequential Pacific biodiesel manufacturing facility in Salem. That facility processes predominantly used cooking oil that's collected from restaurants and food processors here in Oregon and in Washington. We also process a small amount of Oregon-grown canola oil, that's virgin canola oil grown in Eastern Oregon. The other half of the biodiesel that's sold here is soy-based biodiesel that's imported from the Midwest. Biodiesel is a fantastic fuel. In some ways, in many ways, better than gas, diesel, or bioethanol. First, the diesel engine is the most efficient form of internal combustion engine out there. The current passenger vehicles that are available in diesel in the U.S. get 45 to 50 miles to the gallon on the highway, and they have no hybrid. It's simply the engine itself. There's even room to go beyond that for mileage. The biodiesel itself is a biofuel, so it's a renewable fuel. It's made from plant matter, vegetable oil, and as a result, you can grow plants, new plants year after year after year. That makes it renewable. Because the plants recycle the carbon dioxide every year, that means that the biofuel is not carbon neutral in terms of carbon dioxide emissions, but very close to it, and much, much better, much fewer carbon emissions than gasoline or diesel fuel that are fossil-based. Of course, every gallon of biodiesel is a gallon that's not diesel, so we're working to reduce dependence on foreign oil. And of course, money spent on fuel here, fuels made in the U.S. like biodiesel. All the biodiesel in the U.S. is made from farm products or used cooking oil recycled products from the U.S. And of course, that's supporting local businesses, regional businesses, keeping the money that we spend on transportation fuel here in the Pacific Northwest. So some people wonder if they have to drive a long distance to get biodiesel, is it worth burning the fuel it takes to get to the station? And my answer would be, it's always best to string your errands along together. So we have a lot of outlets in Portland. I would say if you live in Beaverton, it's a bit of a drive to Portland, but diesel passenger vehicle drivers are getting 45 to 50 miles to the gallon. They refuel their cars on average every 2 or 3 weeks. So I'd say work it into your schedule. If you're going to be close to a pump in Portland, then top off when you're close to that pump, but don't make a special trip if you don't have to. Biodiesel fuel is a little more expensive than petroleum diesel. Depends on the blend though. So in Portland, B99 biodiesel has been selling for $3.29 per gallon. I believe diesel lately has been about $2.80, $2.90 per gallon. Of course, the lower blends of biodiesel have more petroleum diesel, so they're closer in price to diesel. So for example, a 20% biodiesel blend would generally be about 10 cents per gallon more than straight diesel fuel, and a 5% biodiesel blend would be in the range of 2 to 3 cents per gallon more than petroleum diesel fuel. Biodiesel has some concerns when it's used during cold weather, especially when the temperature is below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So at all Sequential locations, we have pump toppers that recommend to drivers when the temperature is below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, blend the biodiesel with 50% petroleum diesel. So a 50-50 blend will get you down well below 20 degrees, where in the valley in Portland or Eugene, you would have no problem in the wintertime getting down to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. We often recommend, if people are going to the mountains, if they're going skiing or snowshoeing during the wintertime, we recommend a B20, 20% biodiesel blend for the mountains. Probably the most common question that we get about biodiesel is, what do I have to do to convert my diesel to run biodiesel? And the answer to that is absolutely nothing. You pull into the pump where they offer biodiesel, you put the biodiesel in the tank, and you drive away. That's also true about blending the biodiesel in the tank. So if you fill up one tank on B99 and then you end up in Central Oregon where you can't find biodiesel, you can put straight petroleum diesel in there. It blends with the biodiesel in the tank. Then when you're back in Portland or Eugene, you can use biodiesel again. So it's absolutely seamless with petroleum diesel. Now, that said, for low blends like 5% and 20%, there's really no additional considerations. If you want to burn pure biodiesel or B99 biodiesel, there are three considerations. One is natural rubber parts inside the engine. The biodiesel, pure biodiesel, will degrade those natural parts. And so over time, an owner of a vehicle will have to change their hoses and potentially some pieces of their fuel injection pump if their vehicle was made after 1993. After 1993, auto manufacturers began using biodiesel-resistant rubber throughout their fuel system. Second consideration would be cold weather, where we recommend that when the temperature is below 40 degrees, blend 50% biodiesel with 50% petroleum diesel to prevent the fuel from gelling in cold weather. And the third part is cleaning out your fuel tank. If you use B99 biodiesel, you may find that old diesel deposits, sludge and sediment in your fuel tank will get cleansed and rinsed into your fuel filter. And that's a simple fix. You simply change your fuel filter once or twice as the flow is reduced, and then you'll never have to do that again. There are a couple of bills in the Oregon legislature that are currently moving through pretty quickly, and I would anticipate that we could have passage of a biofuels bill by mid-May of this year, 2007. That bill, the biofuels bill, is largely encouraging both production of biofuels in Oregon and also greater consumption of biofuels in Oregon. So for individual drivers, there's a very nice tax credit that will be applicable to B99 biodiesel and also E85 bioethanol for flex fuel vehicles. And it is currently in the legislation 50 cents per gallon, up to $200 per year. So whereas our B99 biodiesel today is at $3.29 per gallon in Portland, with that tax credit, the effective price will be down around $2.80, which is, I believe today, is very close to diesel, maybe even a little cheaper than diesel. Biodiesel is interchangeable with diesel fuel in any diesel application. So most people would be familiar with cars and trucks that have diesel engines, but it also is perfectly acceptable for use in things like generators, tractors on farms, and also home heating oil furnaces. Many people don't realize that home heating oil is really just an off-road type of diesel fuel, and there are a number of heating oil distributors in Portland that offer B20 biodiesel blend as an option for heating oil customers. There are also a handful of companies that are offering heating oil furnace conversions so that they can run on B99 biodiesel.
I'm here filling up with biodiesel B99 this afternoon because I like the fact that the biodiesel is renewable. It's a renewable energy source and it helps close the carbon cycle. I get good gas mileage out of it and makes me feel good to drive with it.
I'm Neil Woody. I'm with Sequential Pacific Biodiesel. I'm the plant manager here at our Salem, Oregon plant, and we're going to walk you through how we make biodiesel. Well, we're here at the receiving trough, and this is where a truck shows up every morning with a load of used cooking oil straight from the dumpsters behind the restaurants. And this is a first filtration process where we remove the large potatoes and gloves and straws, all sorts of numb stuff. We're going to filter it through here, and then we're going to send it into one of our large receiving tanks where we'll put some heat on it and filter it some more. Remove the water and the sediment, and what we're going to come up with is dry oil. It's no kind of oil you'd want to put in your fryer, but it's perfect oil for us to turn into biodiesel. Once we've received and separated the oil in our receiving tanks, we'll then take that dry oil and load one of our reactors. And this is where the biodiesel process actually happens. This is where we're going to take our alcohol and our catalyst, and we're going to mix it with our vegetable oil. And when we're done mixing it, we're going to shut her down and we're going to let it settle. And basically what you can see going on here is our glycerin is settling down to the bottom of the tank, and we're left with biodiesel on top. And that's essentially what making biodiesel is, removing that glycerin from the vegetable oil. And we use alcohol and a catalyst to help that process. And once we've separated out the glycerin, we've got biodiesel. We'll clean the biodiesel up a little bit with a wash process, and then it's ready to get loaded out on trucks to retail locations and distributors and fleets and home heating oil, whatever you think of it. Any diesel engine, we're using it in it. This product is distributed from south to Eugene, up to Portland, to the coast, Bend, some out in eastern Washington. We produce a small fraction of the biodiesel consumed here in the state of Oregon.
Hey, my name's Pat Doppler, and I'm filling up with biodiesel because I think it's important that we all do what we can to make the environment a little bit better.
Production of diesel vehicles peaked in 1984 in response to high fuel prices. At present, there are limited choices for new diesel vehicles. In the past, Volkswagen made Jetta, Golf, and Beetle TDI diesel vehicles, as well as a diesel Touareg SUV. Currently, only a 2006 Jetta TDI sedan and scarce Touaregs can be purchased as Volkswagen retools their diesel cars to meet more strict 2008 pollution standards. Jetta owners say they regularly get mileage into the mid-40s. The 2008 Jetta is set to return in the fall of 2008. Mercedes offers a full line of premium diesel vehicles. The E320 features clean diesel technology called BlueTech. The R320 CDI is a sport touring vehicle. Here is a ML320 CDI SUV, and this is a GL SUV. The diesel Jeep Liberty SUV was discontinued after 2006. Jeep replaced the diesel Liberty with the 2007 diesel Grand Cherokee. Other than passenger vehicles, there are heavy-duty diesel trucks, such as the Dodge Ram Turbo Diesel Pickup, Ford F-Series Super Duty, and the Chevrolet Silverado.
People who want to use biodiesel obviously need to have a diesel vehicle, so people are looking around for new diesels or used diesels and wondering how difficult it is to find them. There's only a few new vehicles out there on the market. Volkswagen offers a number of vehicles in the TDI diesel version. Jeep Liberty has been offered in a diesel version, and Mercedes has a few vehicles out there. We also have a lot of biodiesel drivers who are finding used vehicles. So there are still some very nice vehicles out there from the 1980s, Mercedes and Volkswagen versions from the 80s. And then of course, if we wait just a couple more years, there will be significantly more new diesel versions coming on the market over the next couple of years. So between now and 2010, we're going to see very likely the Japanese engine manufacturers, Honda and Toyota, potentially Subaru, offering diesels in the US. And I would expect that as gas prices and diesel prices continue to rise, that diesel passenger vehicles with very high fuel efficiency are going to become more and more popular here in the US, just as they are very, very popular in Europe. When people are in the market for a new diesel vehicle, one of the questions that we get often is, what about my warranty? People may drop into an auto dealership and the salesperson will say, well, if you put biodiesel in your new vehicle, it voids your warranty. Well, that's not a true statement. It certainly doesn't void any part of the warranty that's not fuel related. But what they're saying is they warrant the materials and workmanship of the engine, and if there were to be a fuel related problem, whether with petroleum diesel or with biodiesel, then that issue would be back on the fuel distributor. In 5 years, almost 5 years of business with Sequential, we've never had a fuel-related problem, and if we ever did, we would certainly go to bat and help that customer work with the dealership.
Yeah, we've been using biodiesel for over 4 years now. They used to deliver it to our house, and we're really glad they have the station open now. And we like biodiesel as an alternative fuel because the less carbon, and our cars run fine with it, no problem. We have to kill people for it.
Biodiesel is widely available for sale in Western Oregon along the I-5 corridor, as well as in Bend and Vail. It is sold by retail, card lock, usually for a business or fleet, or in bulk. In Portland, there are a number of stations scattered in southeast, north, and northwest Portland. You can find a Portland area listing at pdxbiodiesel.org and a statewide list at biofuelsfororegon.org. Here is Mr. Car Wash on Southeast Grand and Stark. This is Jay's Garage on Southeast 7th. This is Star Oil Co. on Southeast 17th. Here is Star Oil Co. on Northwest St. Helens Road. And this is Carson Oil on Northwest 35th. There are no retail biodiesel stations in Washington County. Those of you living there will have to fill up in Portland.
Biodiesel is very available in Oregon. In fact, it may be more available here than in any other state in the country. Sequential has 30 sites in Oregon, largely along the I-5 corridor, on the coast in Bend, and 7 locations in the Portland metro area. You can find those locations on our website, sqbiofuels.com. There are most of those sites offer either 20% biodiesel, called B20, or 99% biodiesel, which is all but 1% petroleum diesel. And those are considered alternative blends of biodiesel, and obviously they have much greater effect. They have the positive effect of biofuels with a higher concentration of biofuels. There are a few pumps in Oregon that are 5% biodiesel, which is a very low blend, but still a blend of biodiesel. At our station in Eugene, we offer all 3 blends of biodiesel: B5, 5% biodiesel; B20, 20% biodiesel; and B99, 99% biodiesel. I'm Thomas Endicott, co-founder and managing partner of Sequential Biofuels. We are a biofuels company here in Oregon. We do some biodiesel production, and we also do retail of biodiesel and bioethanol. Today we're here in Eugene at the very first full Sequential Biofuels branded biofuel station. We offer gasoline with bioethanol for all vehicles. We also have E85 bioethanol for flex fuel vehicles and 3 blends of biodiesel, 5% biodiesel, 20% biodiesel, and 99% biodiesel for all diesel vehicles. And as I'm sure you'll see, we also have a lot of other elements here on site. We're 100% renewable energy powered, beautiful green roof on our convenience store, coffee shop, natural foods and conventional foods, those types of things. The station also is 100% renewable energy powered. I'm standing under our canopies over the fuel islands, which are solid solar panels. They produce 50% of the power that we use on site on an annual basis. We purchase the other 50% as pure wind power from Eugene Water and Electric Board here in Eugene. We also have some other sustainable features like our bioswales, which are these grassy canals along the edge of the property here. They catch all the pollution that runs off with the rainwater, and the bugs that live in the soil in those bioswales remove the pollution before it runs to the river.
One of the reasons I try to use biodiesel is because it's an environmentally friendly alternative to having to I need a diesel truck, and yes, it's a little more expensive, but it's better for the environment.
I'm Portland City Commissioner Randy Leonard, and today we're going to talk about biodiesel, and biodiesel as it's used in the city fleet, biodiesel as it's produced in Oregon, and biodiesel as we see the future for economic development in Portland. So right behind me is actually a city vehicle. It's a Jeep Liberty. It is one of the few vehicles that actually has a diesel engine in it. The Portland Water Bureau has bought a fleet of these. I like it so much I went out and bought one just exactly like it, except that it's green, for my own personal use. This vehicle will burn 99% biodiesel, which is what's the common term used to describe pure biodiesel. 1% has to be petroleum product, not for the efficiency of the fuel, but for federal tax reasons. So it's routinely referred to as B99 biodiesel. This little Liberty is an example of the kind of automobile that I'm hoping more and more Americans buy to reduce our dependence on foreign oil, because the biodiesel that powers this vehicle is grown right here in Oregon from canola, and also is processed from used cooking oil right here in the Willamette Valley. And the local company that produces the product, Sequential Fuel, has really seen a market where others hadn't, and I think is ahead of the curve in Oregon in producing biodiesel. Our Water Bureau fleet in general is heavy trucks, backhoes, equipment that runs on diesel. We use B99 in fueling those vehicles. The agricultural community east of the Cascade primarily is thrilled that Portland is doing what we are with biodiesel, because they're growing the crop canola that we're guaranteeing them a price for that will be processed into biodiesel. We're actually looking to have a process plant built on the Willamette River in any one of a number of locations, and we're negotiating as I speak with a number of large companies that are interested in building a biodiesel plant here in Oregon because of a number of factors, including an ordinance that will take effect July 1st, 2007. It's an ordinance I drafted last summer that will mandate that all diesel sold in Portland at all retail outlets have at least 5% biodiesel. It actually kicks up to 10% biodiesel on July 1st, 2010. That ordinance also requires that all gasoline sold in Portland must contain at least 10% ethanol. And that ordinance is the first of its kind in the United States for any city, because what we're trying to do is get the market going to start producing biodiesel so that we can reduce, as I said, our reliance on foreign oil and the pressures that come from foreign countries against us, oftentimes against our national interests, as a quid pro quo for us buying their oil. For a number of reasons, I think that's inappropriate, and I see no reason at all why we shouldn't be buying a product that enriches Americans, and in this case even Oregonians, that is actually better for the environment. Biodiesel actually has a zero CO2 footprint when you take into account the amount of CO2 that is produced is actually what's consumed by a canola plant in photosynthesis to grow it. So it's for a number of reasons the product of the future.
Hi, I'm Dan Charbonneau. I drive a Volkswagen Jetta TDI, and I'm using biodiesel for a few reasons. I like to kind of help the economy move along from the dependence on oil to the future of automotive and other type of transport.
Well, back in like 2002, we realized that we either had to stop driving entirely or change what we did. So we started using biodiesel as much as possible. We bought a diesel Mercedes and drive it in a van. We would drive it both on a biodiesel. And I'm really pushing for the biodiesel hybrid, because that if you have a biodiesel hybrid, you can get the best of the electrical world and the best of the diesel world. The biodiesel world, because well, that way we don't have to necessarily mow down as many forests, have biodiesel fields, which I'm afraid is starting to happen already. So we have to be careful with that, and less petroleum dependence.
We gotta work with what we got, where we at, so we can figure it out. I think, and biodiesel is a good step, and we're really fortunate here that we can just pull up to a pump and get it. It makes it a whole lot easier. Go biodiesel!
Biodiesel is a cleaner burning fuel that burns in highly efficient diesel engines and heating oil furnaces. Technical issues to fueling with biodiesel are not significant, and availability of biodiesel in Oregon is very good. You will have to adjust your fuel blend with the seasons. All TriMet buses and Portland residential garbage haulers are now using blends of biodiesel. Biodiesel is not the ultimate answer to our transportation energy needs, but it's a step in the right direction. More environmentally friendly and more beneficial to the domestic and regional economy. New car purchasers will have to decide if they want to fuel their vehicle with a blend of biodiesel. 5% biodiesel is approved for use in all American and European auto manufacturers. Auto dealers may question the fuel system warranty if you use higher blends of biodiesel, like 20% or 99%. However, the ultimate guarantee for fuel quality rests on the fuel station and fuel distributor. That said, many people, governments, and businesses are successfully running biodiesel in all kinds of diesel cars and trucks. This has been a quick overview of biodiesel, and you are encouraged to find out more. Perhaps someday we can leave our cars behind and pedal ourselves to where we want to go.